Hey guys, and welcome to this video where we talk about social media management 101 for freelancers. So we're not only going to talk about what's the difference between a freelancer and a full-time social media manager for a company, we're also going to talk about the different processes and how your day-to-day looks like as a social media manager when you do freelancing. If you are already at the point where you feel like, you know what, Nadine, I do want to get started right away, how can I do that? Watch my free webinar, it's linked below, where I walk you step by step on how to get started. But before we dive in with this content, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel and hit this like button if you like the video. That really helps with the algorithm. All right, guys, so the main difference from a social media manager for a company compared to a freelance social media manager is that you do the social media for one company compared to different clients. So you're essentially doing the exact same tasks, but for more people compared to when you do it for one company. So I did both, and I must say, as you might know, I highly prefer working as a freelancer, not only because I have the freedom to work from anywhere at any time, I can also make way more, and let me explain how that looks like. So you're being hired for a company. As an example, I used to work for a radio station, and you get paid a monthly salary to do all of their social media accounts. So I was handling their Facebook page, their Twitter, and their Instagram. So I was planning the content, I was creating graphics, I was scheduling the content, and most of all, I was interacting with the clients who commented on the page. So now as a freelancer, I work with different clients, or with, let's say, 5 different clients, and I do the exact same thing for them. I post on their Facebook page, I post on their Instagram, and I give them story prompts on what to post on their stories. I create graphics for their stories, I give them video prompts to create reels, and I do that for all of my 5 clients. Now, all of my 5 clients pay me each $1,000, which gives me $5K a month, compared to if the company would give me, I don't know, $2,000 a month. Now, I say 5, but you can also work with 10 clients. You just have to have really good systems and automations. But ultimately, you're doing the exact same tasks. You're just doing it for more clients at a time compared to just one company. That means you need to work smarter. You need to have really good systems in place, and then you need to batch create your content so that you can create a lot of work in 1 or 2 days and don't have to work every single day 8 hours. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So now that you decided, let's say you want to work as a freelancer and you don't want to work for a company, that means you need to find your own clients. And if we look at the comparison on what's better compared to a freelancer and a full-time social media manager, as you know, I'm a bit biased and I will always prefer being a freelancer, but I want to give you guys a clear picture, and there are downsides, of course, as well. And one of the downsides is that you need to make sure that you constantly have enough clients on a monthly retainer. So even if you have 10 clients right now, you still want to look for new clients every single month, because not every client is going to stay with you a year. You might be able to keep them a couple of months, but then they might want to do it themselves or something else came up. So I usually have them in a 3 months minimum contract, and only then they can quit their contract every month at the end of the month. But you really have to make sure that you have that 3 months minimum, because also that's really what it's needed to create results for them. And then again, you want to onboard new clients constantly, but that also means you constantly have to look for new clients. So you need to be out there. And whether you find your clients on Instagram, LinkedIn, Upwork, Guru.com, etc., doesn't matter. You still have to be out there and basically promote yourself. So that's, for some people, a downside. If you have a good process, then it's no problem at all. But that can also be a burden. So it can also be stressful at times. There are always enough clients out there. Trust me, social media management is the #1 job of the future, but that doesn't mean clients in the beginning will just fly in and find you. That will happen after a while because mostly clients will refer you to other clients, or you will have built an online presence so people can find you, or you're simply in a position to run ads. But at the beginning, you will have to look for new clients yourself. Now, when you have found a client, you want to have a really good onboarding process to make that transition super smooth for your client. And again, I highly suggest that you watch my free webinar on how to get started as a freelance social media manager, because on there I talk you through the onboarding process. So let's say you found a client, you onboard them into your business, they share their passwords with you, and they have signed a contract. Now you are creating the content for them. That means before you even do that, you need to have a social media strategy. And here again is the difference between a big company and a freelancer. So when you work as a social media manager in a big company, you usually have a head of marketing or the CEO who clearly knows what their social media strategy is, and they really just come to you and say like, hey, we want to achieve this goal, create content around that. So your creativity is a bit limited because you have someone else tell you what to create for you. And it's always, I see it always a little bit as a battle, at least it was for me, and I see like other friends having that issue as well. You are so savvy on social media and you know what would work well, but really your boss has to approve your content, or maybe even a legal department has to approve your content. Or, that was in my case, worst case scenario, they send you random pictures, random videos that you clearly don't think would work on any social media platforms, but they make you post it anyway. So that is when you work for a company. As compared to a freelancer, you are the professional. You come up with a social media strategy and you tell your client, hey, this is what we should do. This is the platforms we should be on. But of course, you only do that when you know your client's goal. So like I said, once you have signed a contract, you now want to go and think about your client's goals. So you have a little questionnaire, you ask them, what is your business goal? Do you want to have more sales? Do you want to have more sign up for your coaching program? Do you want brand awareness? Do you want to become an influencer? What is your goal? And then from there, you create a social media strategy. And then once you've created that strategy, you will create content for your client that provides, or like that works towards that goal and that is implementing that strategy. So once you have that, you can start posting content. Now, if you work with different clients, and we can, like we said, you can have 5 to 10 clients, you want to make sure that all your clients are in the same industry, in the same niche. So what does that mean? You don't want to have someone who's selling jewelry and a restaurant and a business coach as your client, because then I can already tell you they will all have different goals and they will need different content. That means it's impossible for you to actually create content in a batch way. So you can't have one day where you create content for all of your clients that are in a similar niche, because they all need different content. They all need different graphics. So that means you need to work way harder. You need to research different hashtags, and they all have a different strategy, which means you constantly have to come up with new strategies. No, you want to have 5 to 10 clients, but in one industry. So let's say I work with coaches. Maybe I have a health coach, or maybe I have 5 health coaches, maybe I have a business coach, and they all have the same goal: more people in their coaching program. So now I can create one social media strategy, and I know I can use similar strategies for all of my clients. I can use similar hashtags and create similar content. Not the exact same content, because it's different personalities and you will give it a specific twist for each person, But can you see the difference to compare having to create content for a jewelry business that has an e-commerce store to a coach who really wants to have signups? So it's completely different goals. So that's why you first need to decide on a niche. And again, watch my webinar if you have no idea how to find a niche. Then once you have that, you can actually create content for them. I'm just gonna give you a quick overview on how I do that in a very, very brief format. So let's say on a Monday, on a new month, I'm choosing July here, you are going into a Google Doc and then you are creating captions for all of your clients. Once you've did that, you are going to Canva and you're creating all of the graphics that are needed for that month. And then the next day, you're going to schedule everything in a scheduling tool. So that means you are going to do the same tasks at the same day, not writing captions, creating graphics, scheduling on one day. No, you're doing day one, writing all the captions for all of your clients. Day two, creating all the graphics for all of your clients. And then day three, scheduling the content for all of your clients. So now you have created content for 5 clients in 1 up to 3 days. And all you can do now is check if all the posts went out, if you have to answer any comments. But it's way less work on a day-to-day compared to when you work for this one big company where you have to show up every single day, 8 hours a day. All right, guys, these are the biggest differences when it comes to working for a company compared to a freelancer. We also just talked a little bit about the processes. And again, if you feel like, oh yeah, I want to dive deeper with this, watch my free webinar. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Before we finish with this video, there's one important thing that I need to share with you as well, and that is how you're structuring your day. So when you work in a company, you obviously have to sit there 9 to 5 or 8 to 7 or whatever. Whereas as a freelancer, you can do that. You can create your own hours. I just shared with you a way on how to do basically 15 to 30 days of content in 3 days. And the rest of the time, you really just have to check whether your content went online and answering some questions. But that's pretty much it. All right, guys, if you feel like, yeah, I want to give this a shot, but I still don't know how to get started, like what are the exact steps I need to take right now, go and watch my free webinar. It's linked below, or also check out the channel here to see if you find any more interesting videos on how to get started. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel to get notified when there are more videos coming out. And for now, I'll say bye.